Hello, hi, welcome or welcome back. My name is Eva and today we're back for another MLM horror stories. If you're new here on my channel, I try to help people avoid scams, so like and subscribe for more anti-MLM content. Feel free to leave a comment down below if you have any opinions on the stories that we are going to read. Some of them are pretty wild. And if you're not coming from my social media, feel free to check me out. All the links are going to be down below along with my email address where you can send me a detailed story of your own experience if you've had any experiences with MLM companies that you would like to share. Okay, so let's get into the stories. We're going to start with a juicy one. It's called I Dated a Guy in an MLM and I Didn't Really Know Until Now. So a couple summers ago, I was on the train headed into the downtown area of the city I live in. I was standing, holding on to one of those balance loops that hang from the ceiling when the train stops and this guy walks on. He's my age, 20 or so, and he's pretty good looking. He's decked out in a suit and tie, which I find a little weird since he appears young. It's midday on an August weekend, meaning it's not really prime time business hours as far as I know, and it's hot as hell outside. Too hot to wear a black suit unless you have to, but whatever. Maybe he has an interview. His office is open on weekends? Don't know, not my business. Anyway, this is all going through my head as the doors closed, and then he's standing in front of me. He looked right at me. Maybe he caught me looking before, but he's looking at me like I'm the only person he cares to see, and damn, I have to say, just damn. So he chats me up, let's call him Justin, and I find out that he is going to work. He has to help with finishing up a presentation, so we agree to meet after he's finished. I was just planning on hanging out in the city for the day, so I said I could come just meet him outside his building when he was free. Now, when he tells me the name of the building he works in, I'm surprised and honestly a little impressed. It's a pretty major building in my city. A few hours later, I'm texting him outside of said building. He comes out and then offers to bring me up to his office and show me around, and I'm like, hell yeah, because I've never had a reason to go there before and I was curious. We go up, and from what I recall, the office space was small, but they had a kitchen area, several small offices, and their own bathroom, and he had mentioned at some point that it was a bit of a startup, so it checked out on me apparently. So eventually we come to the largest small offices, and there's 3 people, one dude on a laptop and a girl and a second dude sitting on a couple chairs. He's sitting on a couple chairs. They're all quite loud people, outgoing. I could immediately tell they were a little much for me. I would feel the same. But they were very friendly to me for sure. The first thing they asked me though was if I was joining their business. And when they saw how confused I looked, they kind of backed off. It was the weirdest vibe. They clearly liked Justin. They were talking him up to me, saying that he was the youngest member of their team, how much potential they saw in him, how much money he was going to be making. It made me uncomfortable. Like I looked like a gold digger who would be enticed by that. I was there for vanity. He was attractive. That's it. Anyway. One of the guys also made a point to mention to me that he had recruited the girl and that she was also about to make a lot of money, even though she mentioned to me that she was also serving at night. But again, none of this mattered to me really. Weird and uncomfortable. I just wanted to leave. He also mentioned that he had just come back from a business trip to Japan and that Justin would probably be doing things like that soon. After 20 minutes that felt like an eternity, we finally left after, of course, I had agreed to attend the presentation, of course. Clearly a red flag, but I had never heard of an MLM before and I still had no idea what they were actually doing. Anyway, my relationship with Justin isn't really what's important here. On his own, he was a regular, handsome, boring guy with kind of a smug attitude. I wasn't in for the long haul, but I liked him enough and I'm falsely polite enough that I still went to the presentation because he'd said the number of people there mattered. I assumed that meant a boss of some kind was going to be there to assess something, and the more people there, the more successful it looked. I clearly didn't think it through. He offered to drive me to the presentation, but I had to work, so I said I'd just be coming by my way back. So he just gave me the address. I didn't realize until later that although their office is downtown in a prime location, this meeting was way out the outskirts, barely still in the city. weird. So I get to this building and the outside window I see an ad for a water filtration thing. Oh no, it's the water filtration cult. I go in and they've got folding tables along the back and 2 at the front of the room, separated by a few rows of fold-up chairs. There's pizza and a fruit platter on the back tables, as well as water and sodas. People were scattered throughout the seats. They are nowhere near full, mind you. And a bunch of people are talking in a group off the side. I recognize one of the guys and go over. He asks me if Justin is with me and I say no, and he eagerly thanks me for coming. He tells me to get pizza and a free water bottle, but I don't. It seemed weird to me and I wasn't even sure why, lol. Eventually, Justin shows up and they start the presentation. At this point, I had been out with him a few times. I knew him better than before, but I still knew nothing about his job. He wasn't being secretive, I just wasn't asking. I assumed it was business stuff and I wouldn't get it or wouldn't care about it. Now, I'm getting to learn, and as it turns out, I do get it because I know what a pyramid scheme is, even if I've never heard of the term MLM. This particular scheme was Enagic, which is a water filtration system, and they try to convince you that tap water is somehow bad for you and can't hydrate you properly unless it's ionized. And that their ionized water can help blood pressure, weight, make you live longer. Basically, this machine makes water magic and all other water is trash. How crazy does that sound? They even did demos with tap water and various bottled waters. I had the worst feeling in my stomach because looking around the room, these looked like regular people. Many seemed to be immigrants. None of these people looked like they had an extra $1,200 to spend on a water filter. Jesus, $1,200 for a water filter. Well, I guess it makes water magic, so it's worth it, right? And I couldn't imagine that they knew many people in their lives that could afford that either. A couple people were even taking notes. At the end of the presentation, I couldn't look at Justin the same anymore. Either he was being scammed or hoping to scam others, either of which is unappealing. Yeah, for sure. One of the guys he worked with asked me how I liked it and if I was considering joining. I literally laughed in his face. I couldn't help it. I tried to cover by saying I'm just not interested in selling to people, but I think he knew. I grabbed a water bottle and a slice on my way out and never looked back. I never talked to Justin again either. Even the water bottle was shitty. I threw it out a few months later when the top stopped screwing on properly, which actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah, why am I not surprised? Oh man, that must have been so disappointing. Imagine you meet this handsome guy and then you find out that he is scamming people for work. Well, I wonder, maybe he was the one who was getting scammed as well. Maybe he was naive. I mean, he was 20. Alrighty, well, the next one. I was scammed last week by an Amway recruiter. Now I'm fighting to get my $1,500 back from PayPal. They are getting creative now. Long story, but I hope this helps anyone out there. This is a very important lesson. I saw an ad for a coaching program where this guy would teach me how to sell e-commerce products and run online advertisements. I'm very involved in the e-commerce space, so I had not a single clue this was Amway. I'm always down for coaching and improving my sales. We talked for 30 minutes and I asked him everything under the sun before paying. Keep in mind, when we talked, the phone call was recorded from his end, so he has that call somewhere. I asked him a ton of questions about what I was paying for. It was my understanding I was being taught how to run ads to sell products. On the phone, he sounded super nice, so I believe this scam is working well for him because he obviously did a good job at duping me. He must dupe a lot of people into doing this. Yeah, for sure. Anyways, I get into the meeting with him after I paid and everything changed. He starts going on about why I should never buy products from Walmart, Amazon, or any store ever again, and how I should tell other people to never do that as well. Also, how Bill Gates and Elon Musk only buy from their own stores and never those big names, which I'm not sure how you use a Tesla to clean the kitchen, but I digress. It slowly started hitting me. I started thinking in my head, is this an Amway thing? He said, The Tesla thing got me. He said I should instead purchase from my own store and bring people under me to purchase from my store to build true wealth. Then he tries getting me to load up $500, so another $500 into the Amway website. My heart immediately sank. I couldn't believe it. Of all people, I was the one to get duped. I literally am so involved in anti-MLM. I help people not get involved, yet I was almost recruited. LOL. I immediately told him I didn't want to do this and I don't want any association with a pyramid scheme / MLM. I told him this was misrepresented to me and that I was never told I was going to be joining Amway. Had I known, I obviously would not have paid. Yikes. He then very nicely said he would refund me and we can part as friends. This Zoom call was also recorded. I know it was recorded because Zoom asked me to allow permission for recording, so he has this video somewhere along with the phone call. They're probably using that as like training and stuff like that on their like Zoom calls training. We politely parted ways and he said he'd refund me and to have a nice day. So it's been a couple of days and he has completely ghosted me. Shocker. No return texts. His cell phone goes directly to voicemail. I've emailed all of his 3 emails. Nothing. So if it goes directly to the voicemail, that means he most likely blocked his number. It's like he disappeared. I paid him $1,500 for coaching on running ads, not to join a shady MLM. It turns out the entire program is just his students running ads to his Amway products, selling them for like double the price, then recruiting the customers into Amway. So it's like an MLM plus an MLM. One thing that scares me is right after I paid, like 2 minutes after, he told me that I need to confirm a receipt on PayPal or something. I'm not sure how that works, but I confirmed it before we met for the first time. That was basically to confirm the payment. Something about the product being delivered. However, this wasn't a product. It was supposed to be a 6-week coaching. I made it to 1 call and that's when he tried recruiting me into an MLM, then asking me to load $500 into Amway to get started. Oh my god, so starter package in Amway costs $500. That's even worse than Arbonne and Beachbody and stuff. I'm currently battling this out with PayPal. If I lose, I will be devastated. I am the last person on the planet who would get duped into joining an MLM. Now they're getting creative and going towards the e-commerce sector. This is deplorable. So there was an edit down. He responded through PayPal dispute and said his team is going to get the refund started. I will not get my hopes up until I see the money on my account. PayPal saw him message that to me. So at this point, if he goes back out with the refund by having PayPal in on the message, that gives me a good edge. I'll keep you guys updated. Thanks everyone. Or I'm sure PayPal can do something to kind of force the refund. And this is what I'm hoping happened anyway. And the last one is very short. So she says, I was with Beachbody for 2 years, went to meetings and conventions. I was manipulated into being a coach after saying repeatedly I don't think so, but she kept pressuring me and messaging me until I said yes. So this is what we saw on my Tuesday video with the Beachbody coach that was just aggressively pressuring my Instagram friend into joining. So yeah, this is like most of the Huns are not going to give up after you tell them no. They're going to keep pressuring you until you say yes or until you block them. After my first and only successful month, she kept saying, remember how well you did at first, you can do it. After telling her I wasn't gonna be successful. This business is mostly luck, but you still have to put in an absurd amount of time and money to try and be successful. And when you aren't successful, it's your fault and you're gaslighted into not trying hard enough. So yeah, this is something that we talked about a lot on this channel. They are going to try and tell you that it's your fault, that you didn't put enough effort in it, or it's all up to your skills and your efforts, but this is not true. People are hustling day and night, cold messaging people on social media, just trying to make this work, but it's oversaturated. The business model is just set up for you to fail. So 1% of top people earn money based on the 99% people losing money underneath them. And this is just how it is. This is how it works. It's really not your own effort. It's not your own fault for failing. At the same time, they try to make it look like it's so easy to earn money, to start your own business. If it's so easy, why are 99% of of people failing? Are 99% of people lazy? So yeah, it's just a bunch of BS. It is not your fault for failing. So yeah, I'm going to wrap that up here. This is a little bit shorter than usual. If you enjoyed it, please leave me a like and subscribe to my channel for more anti-MLM content. Thank you to all of my Instagram friends for your continuous support. And if you're not coming from my social media, all the links are going to be down below. Feel free to check me out. My username is evaamateja. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.